Welcome to today's coaching clinic, the June session. I can't believe how quickly time is going. And today's session, we're looking at trusting the guidance you get. I think this is an important subject because most of the conversations I have with people tend to revolve around deepening that knowing inside. And so much of our lives get cleaned up, messes get avoided, situations get graceful resolutions when we follow the guidance we get. So today we're really going to look towards, how do we recognize that guidance and begin to trust and act on it? And sort of what can we do if we've missed it? Feel
the results of the lesson.
I just want to mute you. Monica, can you mute your line?
Okay, so, whoops, trying to, not very good at this. There we go.
Thank you. Okay, so let's just start with what I believe helps all of us get more attuned to the guidance, and that is becoming present, getting into this moment, quietening down that active mind. And the way I like to do that is just with a gentle grounding exercise, which may or may not lead us into something a bit deeper, but we'll start there and we'll see what appears from that. So just join me as we close our eyes and begin to take a couple of deep breaths in through your nose and out. Do that in your own rhythm now. Just becoming aware of the breath, this powerful tool that supports us in coming into the now. And in your mind's eye, just imagine roots coming from your feet, down through the ground, down into the underground, and right down to that rock at the bottom of the earth. Wrap those roots around that rock. This rock holds the light of your true nature. And let that light emanate now from the rock, up through the roots, up through the underground, the ground, up through the floorboards and into your feet. Send that loving elixir of light all the way up through your body, through every cell and every atom and every bone and every part, being sure to send some extra golden light in any places that you might want some healing. Sending that light all the way up now. And just noticing your body surrounded, enveloped in this beautiful elixir of golden light. And in your mind's eye now, just see in front of you a golden path. Step up onto that path and begin to walk along the path. The sun beaming down upon you, nature surrounding you. And up ahead of you is a body of water. Approach it now. And as you approach it, just stand still This body of water is still and present, deep and healing. Receive its energy. Notice yourself becoming still. And in this stillness, consider perhaps a request someone has made of you, or something you're contemplating doing or not doing, something you're considering, and receive your guidance. Yes or no. Don't worry about the mind that wants to talk you in or out of things. Just receive the guidance from the stillness you're now in. Know that if something isn't clear, you can wait well for your answer. You don't need to be rushed. You don't need to be demanded upon. There are some subjects, there are some requests that we just have more on it. And it seems like the guidance isn't really there. But if you can notice in this moment the feeling when you consider this contemplation, this request, this possibility, this opportunity, this situation, if you can notice the feeling in you when you consider addressing it or attending it, it will give you a lot of guidance on whether to proceed or not. Let the stillness of this water support you and soothe you. And thank this stillness within you. As you turn away from that water, walking back towards the golden path, and walking along that path, the sun still beaming down upon you, the golden healing elixir of light still surrounding you, and the guidance clear within you, taking you home. Step down off the golden path, back into this moment, feeling the weight of your body without judgment on your chair, the support of your spine, holding you upright, and the strength of your feet planted firmly on the ground. See those roots coming from the feet, down through the ground, down into the underground, right down to that rock at the bottom of the earth, and wrap those roots around that rock. Feel yourself centered, stabilized, here and now. And when you feel ready, you can gently just move your fingers and toes and open your eyes. coming back in to the clinic space. So what if trusting our guidance is really just prioritizing a bit of stillness? So often we are presented with a situation and our minds get busy and busy and busy and busy about it. We might even scare ourselves about it. And yet, the moment we are still and present and in the moment, there's a clear knowing of the direction we want to take. And sometimes the direction might be wait it out, do nothing, don't send the message. Sometimes the guidance might be it's something that doesn't make sense. Go to this place, call that person, spend that money on yourself. Sometimes the guidance is contrary to what we have learned we should or shouldn't do in life. We can trust it'll never steer us wrong. None of us are living at a level of consciousness where the guidance in a financial situation is going to guide us to rob a bank. We can trust that we're not going to be misguided or guided down a path that leads to something worse. And why is that? Because we can trust that we have this protection in knowing how the mind works. We have this spiritual support, if you like, enveloping us, wanting us to grow and succeed and do well for ourselves. Now, everybody has that, but depending on how much of a gun you have to your head about life or money or your weight or your image or your age or anything, depending on how much of a gun you have to your head, you know, that kind of determines the decision you'll make, which is why coming back to stillness, something so simple, the breath, built into the system, coming back home to self, quiet, grounded, breathing, settled, is one of the most powerful things you can do when you're wanting to access guidance. We are being guided all the time. We get into our car, we're driving, we're being guided. We're not questioning the guidance. Yes, there's some logic that we've learned. Stop at a red light. Yes, there's some helpful information we've learned. You know, turn left, let the other car come forward. But the rest of the time is based on moment-to-moment guidance. The rest of the time is you listening to yourself automatically, naturally, easily. My dog's just having some water. So it's not rocket science or something that you've been disconnected from. This is built into you. He knows to have water when he comes back from a walk. He knows it's built into the system. Oh, have you had enough? Okay. He doesn't have to learn that or think about that or wonder whether or not he should take water from his bowl. Maybe there won't be any left later. He knows through his guidance system, it's time to drink water. I'm thirsty. Well, it's the same for each of us. This is the most natural thing in the world, that you would be guided and that you would hear your own guidance. Now, there's also another helpful tool within us to help us know our guidance, trust our guidance. And that is the feeling we get. So when I'm tempted to react to someone or become reactionary, I notice there's a feeling across my chest. This will be unique for others, it's different. There's a feeling across my chest right here that I now accept as my indicator to stop before I react. You might get a lighter feeling. I do in situations too. I get a lighter feeling. I kind of, oh, this feels pressured, or this feels tight, or this feels stressed. Well, I now accept that as guidance to say no in that moment. A client was sharing with me earlier that her client had moved to another attorney, and the client was also a friend of hers, and took it upon herself to write to my client to ask for support about something. But my client could feel this kind of, hell no, I can't do that. You know, your new attorney needs to do that, you know? And then she got lost in the story, like we all do. Well, you should be helpful. Well, this is a friend of yours. Well, you know, maybe you should be a little more generous. Yet it was the hell no that was her guidance. Now, sometimes we're lucky enough to get a hell no or a hell yes, but in all the other times that we get gentle guidance, we can notice by the feeling we get whether it's a yes or a no. We can become respectful of the feeling we're getting when we consider a situation. I recently had an opportunity where someone presented an idea to me. And when they said it, the feeling in me was expansion. That would be amazing. I never considered that. Wow, I'd love to do that. And then the story started. Well, that's a bit of a trip, Grace. Well, now you're going to have to organize that, and you're going to have to prepare for that. And and maybe it's not so necessary. And a little trick that I use when I am doubting my guidance is I'll call on spiritual support. And I'll say to them, whoever they are, you can choose anyone you want. I'll simply say, if I'm really supposed to follow this, give me a definite, clear sign today. So I said that the other day because I'd been procrastinating on this idea. And off I went to a nice party. And as I'm at the party, some friends of mine introduced me to friends of theirs. And I said to them, where are you from? Well, not only were they from the city that I'm being invited to go to, but they're from the exact neighborhood that the person I'm due to meet lives in. Now, I can listen or not listen. I have free will. You have free will to ignore, to procrastinate, to wait. But you also have free will to call on spiritual support as and when to clarify something that you already know. Even if you weren't to do that, the feeling you get is the guidance. Do you feel expansive? Does it feel exciting? Does it feel alive? Does it feel soothing, gentle, easier, more natural, more authentic to you? Or does it feel tight, constricted, like you're putting yourself under pressure? Do your tummy muscles tighten when you consider it? Does your physiology change when you consider it? These are all beautiful indicators on, kind of a yes or no. Often we're living life flat or dull or uninspired because we're not trusting the guidance we get. We're following what we should do, what we've learned to do, what others expect us to do. And yet, if we really look at what inspires us, what motivates us, what generates energy rather than takes it away, we can really see in our lives what we'd love to do. I might have months to think about getting some sort of financial thing sorted out and organized and prioritized and done. And it'll take me until the 23rd hour of the 24th moment in the month to do it. But if you tell me, Grace, there's a party on the 13th of July and the dress theme is such and such a thing, I'm already organized. It's done. I already know what's going to happen, who I'm going to go with, what I'm going to wear, how it's going to be, even if I have to go out and figure it out. If you tell me, Grace, you got to organize your house. It's you've got to take care of your household. You need to blah, 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 blah. I'll say, yes, okay. And I'll continue to get a cleaner and delegate that. If you say to me, Grace, you're going on a trip and you're leaving in 5 days time and you're going to be away for probably 3 weeks, I'm organized. That the next day I'm ready to go. Now, that's me personally. You've got your unique passions and driving forces. The reason I share this with you is that We're living flat because we're not trusting the guidance and honoring what truly inspires us. It is really helpful to consider, where does my energy come alive, even if I've been stuck on the sofa for weeks on end? What phone call does it take? I remember Francesco and I, we were exhausted in August a number of years ago. We just had so many visitors. We had overextended ourselves, making other people happy. That was just what we did. And we got a phone call from a friend of ours in the local hotel where they're currently hosting the G7. And she said, Grace, are you busy? And I said, no, well, we're kind of on the sofa. We're not busy, but we're not going out tonight. Thanks anyway. Oh, no, I'm not asking you to go out. Are you there with Francesco? I said, yes, we're here. She said, right. I have a high profile client that needs to see Ostuni. This is where we were living. Do you think you could be ready in a couple of hours to meet him and his wife? And I'm still huffing and puffing, like, oh, okay, Ruth, I'm thinking it's some political figure. And then Francesco says, well, who is it? And it turned out it was Robbie Williams. Now, can you imagine how speedily, how quickly our energy went from flat to furious with excitement? The getting ready, the everything came alive, right? Again, that might not be your kind of thing that would light you up, but I'm just using it as an example of how, when we're living flat, it's usually an indicator, it's a wonderful indicator, that we're not living true to what inspires us. We've gotten into obligation instead of inspiration. And it really is up to us, because no one's going to give us permission, and no one's going to sort of support us in living, what we want to do. And that's up to us. But it then inspires everyone around you. It gives others permission to go after, living the way that they'd like to. And that doesn't have to be glitz and glam and rock stars. That could be as simple as you just feel inspired and alive by working for yourself and not going to a day job. Or you just feel inspired and alive by prioritizing your fitness in the morning and your clients in the afternoon. Prioritizing time with your animal or your children, your husband. This isn't about you having to go out and get something to feel better. It's just this alignment with you. And guidance is always showing up in the way that is going to support you in living inspired. A couple of years ago, you've probably heard this, but it's still one of my greatest stories. Is I was so flat about my business, in the sense that I just knew I needed to do something new. And I'd come out of, a period of incubation after the death of my partner. And the guidance I got, that made no sense for the prayer I was asking. The prayer I was asking was, please show me what to do next in my business. What should I do next in my business? What could I do next in my business? The guidance I got was go to London. Made no sense at all. Was going to be super expensive. Had nothing to do with business. And something in me felt, that's nice. Love to go back to London. Haven't been to London in a couple of years. Then the story came in, right? The story came in. That's extravagant. You don't need to do that. That's got nothing to do with your business. Where are you going to stay? Who's going to want to see you anyway? Like the story came in. Well, that's where I again went and asked for clear guidance. If I'm really supposed to go to London, give me a clear sign today. And I'm walking my dog here in my local town, and he's dragging me in another direction. And I could have given in, I could have resisted him and said, no, we're not going that way. But I also learned to trust my animal. So he's dragging me in a different direction. Okay, let's go. Okay, well, have it your way. Let's go. And I come across a sign in Italian which said London, Londra. And I just trusted. I just knew. I asked for a clear sign. Here it is. I had the guidance. Let's go. And it was in walking the streets of London that I heard over and over and over again, you're living miraculously, Grace. You're living miraculously. And it hit me. That's my next program. That's my next step. That's the title of a program. And 2 years later, over 500 clients, a beautiful collaboration. That was the guidance. Go to London. Can you imagine if I'd argued with that? And innocently, that's what we do. We argue with our guidance. You know, bit like I could have argued with my dog. No, we're not going that way. We never go that way. But it's learning to trust life's got your back. Life's hearing your requests. You don't need to effort so hard to figure it out and get it done. You might notice if your life or business is feeling flat, there is something off. There is something that's not quite an inspiration for you that you have the power to adjust by simply going after what's more inspiring to you. And if you're not clear, again, you come back to show me what it is. Give me guidance on what would make me feel alive and inspired. Life won't let you down. So I hope that's helpful. I'm really happy to open to questions, comments, observations in your own life. Anything that you'd like to bring forward, we can do that now. Charlene, let's start with you. Thank you.
Hello. I felt really drawn to this clinic. And what you're saying is so spot on in regards to where I am. I think that I have found things difficult because I really resisted what is. And I really learned to just surrender. And there have been like a few things that have come up over the past 4 or 5 weeks that have been really stressful. And something came up recently about the energy supply to my house. There's an issue with the provider and all sorts of things. And, you know, I went to go and solve it, failed. I failed about 8 months ago. I failed now. And it was quite a desperate situation because if I didn't solve this thing with this provider, which was their error, if I didn't solve it, I may not have electricity because of their error. And I was desperate to solve it. And again, on Friday evening, I just went to try and battle with these companies. And, you know, they send you from pillar to post. It's not me you need to speak to, it's this company. And that you're going from company to company. And I was about to try again on this Friday, and I just felt the divine say, stop. Just surrender and let it go. I'm literally on the verge of having no electricity, and my home is really high tech. If I don't have Wi-Fi, I don't have a doorbell, I don't have entertainment, music, television, nothing. No central heating, no cooking, nothing. And I just surrendered, and I just let go. This thing that would have stressed me out before, I just was like, there's nothing else that I can do. And I told my landlord, and he stepped in to save the day. And previously, I would never have called him because sometimes he's slow to resolve things. But he stepped in immediately at like 11 p.m. at night. Not only that, I was able to sort it out the next day, by going to a specific person on a specific time, and they just sorted it out immediately. So I would have stressed out on the Friday trying to resolve it. I could feel my blood pressure rising. It's so stressful. And the landlord stepped in, and then the next day, everything was sorted. And I was just like, ever since then, I've been really looking at my reaction to stressful events. And I've just opted out. I have had business coaching over the years, and I've believed that I needed to be somebody else to make the revenue that I really wanted. And I've tapped out. I've surrendered, because it's not true. In all of the times that I've had amazing success in business, hasn't required much of me at all. This electricity crisis didn't require anything. And as a result, I'm sleeping a lot. Today, I got out of the bed at 12 p.m. The only reason why I got out of bed is because I had clients from 2 p.m. But I'm feeling this call to surrender, let go, and rest.
Lovely.
And it's the most counterintuitive thing, but here we are.
Yeah. I love your example, Charlene, of just giving up, and then everything that was always already available becoming just so much more available. I love that. Good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's freeing to know that we don't have to be someone else, especially when it comes to our business. Isn't that nice to know that you can just be yourself? I heard a nice quote recently. I can't remember who it was from, but they said, just be you, as much of you as you can be. Nothing to change. Anybody else?
I'll share something with you guys. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me,
Yeah.
Chris? Hi,
Yeah,
Grace.
perfect.
Hi, gang. It's so good to see you guys. It's been a while. Yeah, so this is a really cool topic today, and I just had an experience around this in coaching. I had client on a for conversation retainer, and you know, we also have a certain way of showing up to do our work and a way we do things. And I I got this sort of information from the divine, and it was like a plan for the first 3 coachings. And I was like, well, I haven't even listened to this person. I haven't even spoken with them. And like, I'm really huge about listening. And I'm like, how can you know in advance what to talk about or where to go? And I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to go with that and just see what happens. And it was the weirdest experience. I can't even tell you. It was topics that I don't usually speak about with people. It was a way of asking questions that I never used before. It was very strange. And then on session 2, when as it was coming up, because the first one had been so weird for me, I went swimming and I just checked in again. I was just like, mind, maybe there's something else to do in session 2. Like, let's revisit this. And I got the clear answer. I told you already what to do. And so I was like, oh no. And I was just like, all right, I'm going to go with it. And guys, that was the most uncomfortable 3 sessions for me, not for my client. She was just fine. I kept also saying to her, like, this feels really weird to me. And she was like, really? Why? And I was just like, this isn't the way I usually do things. And today we had our 4th session, and I just really was dreading the conversation. It was our last call, and I was just like, oh my gosh, she's gonna tell me that everything has been crazy and she's gotten nowhere. And um, so I showed up, and today I got the message, you know, to explore with her. And she had this huge insight. Um, and I was just blown away by it, because it was really something that, yeah, it really changed her way of being in the world, in her business. And she'd gotten a lot of peace of mind and a lot of relaxation because of it. And we did today's session just like freestyle and worked out like a plan for something. And at the end, I asked her like to reflect back on the time and what had happened and what she was taking away, what was important. And basically, she told me something to the effect of, there's no way she could have gotten to that insight had we not gone the path that we went, because her mind was so busy and focused on this thing that she thought to be necessary and true. It would be like taking a bone from a dog. There was no way I could have taken it from her. And this crazy around the corner and through the woods way we went on, totally off topics, looking back, were mind's way of just loosening up the energy, loosening up the energy, loosening up the energy, so that a window could open for her to see something. So yeah, I just wanted to share that, because it was really hard for me to go with the guidance. It was so bizarre and off the usual path, and it felt so awkward. And still to go with it, it was not easy, but
Yeah.
it was worth it.
That's a wonderful example, Shelia. Thank you for that. Yeah. It's a wonderful example of just that, you know, that you get to keep and remember as you go forward as well with clients, you know, and given what you have experienced and seen over the last, even just the last year, the old way or the usual way just wouldn't be you anymore, you know. It might meet some um, it might meet some structures that are helpful, but you have access to something so much more powerful. And I love that. And I do remember, because Shaylee and I worked together, I do remember that she had an experience of having guidance when it came to a sick animal. And that was incredible. You know, like that, like doesn't even, our guidance doesn't even have to be in relation to us, our lives, our businesses. We can have guidance for any situation, anyone. You know, like that's what's beautiful. This is built into the system. And again, your presence is important for hearing that guidance when you're wanting clarity on a direction. Your presence is powerful. If we, not you, we, because me too, right? If we can busy ourselves with low priority tasks during the day, then we wonder why we feel flat, right? But if we can busy ourselves with low priority tasks, we can busy ourselves with taking a little bit of time to get really present, to check in with our guidance, to ask for clarity on the guidance, whichever way you might like to do that. And sometimes it's just a simple knowing. It's not rocket science. It's not some big major thing. It's just kind of a simple knowing, like, oh, I think I'll eat that today. Well, that's guidance. Every time you go to a restaurant and you open the menu and you've got a whole load of choice, you know you're going to choose something. And it's probably not going to be the same thing every single time. Why? Because you're just getting guidance in that moment. Oh, that's what I'd like to have. Oh, that's what I'd like in my business. Oh, that's what I'd like in my love life. Oh, that's what I'd like in my home. Just saw a question come in there. One sec, I think. Did I see a question? Chat. Oh, okay. How do I stop overriding the guidance with habitual thinking? Well, that's a little bit of a work in progress. It's a great question, Angelina. Over time, we catch ourselves overriding our guidance. Moment to moment, we catch it. This is why being present, prioritizing a little bit of a quieter state of mind, that tends to quieten down the overriding voice, the voice that's always arguing with your guidance, the voice that's talking you out of your guidance. Remember, like my client earlier, she knew, hell no, I can't do this. I'm not her attorney anymore. I can't do this. And then the voice came in, well, you should be nice to her because she was your client, and you should be kind because she's a friend. And you could just respond with something simple that would help her. Like that overriding, that arguing with wisdom, that all of that. We start to get more respectful of the guidance than the overriding voice. And the more presence you have, the less loud that voice is. Most of us here can bow our heads in gratitude every day for the miracle of not having to go to a day job that we hate, right? Well, what does that mean? It means there's a bit of space somewhere for you to prioritize presence and a quieter state of mind. Now, if you're going to a job you love, wonderful. Your energy is likely not flat. There's probably some form of space in your day where you can take time to inpour not outpour all the time to your clients, to your family, to your situation. Inpour, to take some inpouring of inspiration, becoming present. That has a really powerful effect in quietening down that overriding voice that you've heard me describe as Bob. Bob, the drunk guy in our head, talking us out of things, talking us into what we shouldn't be doing, talking us round and round and round in circles. When you're tired, Bob is loud. There's no doubt about it. When you're well rested, Bob's a bit quieter, or he doesn't get away with as much, or you're catching him a little bit quicker. Hence, and tiredness isn't about, I'm not talking about getting a good night's sleep, although I do believe that decent rest through sleep is really powerful, even if the way you get your presence is to take a half an hour siesta in the afternoon if you haven't slept well. I'm talking about a well-rested mind, as in you're not overextending yourself all day. You're not saying yes when you mean no. You're not outpouring all your energy the whole time. You're prioritizing some silence. You're prioritizing some presence. You're prioritizing listening to truth. Here, most of you are prioritizing showing up at a coaching clinic in the hopefully as a space of quietening down and becoming present. So that overriding voice, just habitual thought, we just start paying less respect to that, Angelina, and we start paying a bit more respect to the guidance we get initially. And again, the feeling lets us know. Yes or no, hot or cold, back away, step forward. I'm not sure there's much more to say there. If anyone has something they'd like to share or question or comment.
Hi, Grace. Oh, is someone else coming?
Go ahead, Margaret, and then Danielle. Go ahead.
Hi, Grace. Oh, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. I was guided to come here today for the clinic, and the synchronicity with it all was actually quite amazing. This morning on my phone, I've had this 2 days in a row. There was a beautiful picture came up of us all on retreat and Francesco in the front. And that's the second, it came this morning, so it was yesterday, and this, exactly the same picture. And you're just behind them, but it's like we're all there in a group. And
in Italy?
Yes, yeah. And I thought, I need to speak to Grace. And I've been thinking that. And I've started a new job that I don't like. And anyway, I was offered some time off this afternoon. Did I want to have that? And that'd be great. I'll take that. And right away, I thought I noticed your email. I can attend the coaching clinic today. And I knew that was all synchronicity, the way everything just flowed and my guidance to come on. And it is trusting that, but what I've noticed already, I came in just a bit later on the guided meditation that you were doing. But what came, I've been a bit revved up as well, because I've now finally went and joined a dating app.
Mhm.
So I've just
Nice.
started, I've just started speaking to this, well, to a couple of people actually. And it's good because I've been listening to most of the time my guidance, but every now and then, as we say, the other voice talks out of this and that, and what I've noted, and I did witness this with myself. I could see it in every area with my work, me now looking, you know, for a new relationship. And my guidance is for me to get to to serve in my own way, for my own business. And this is here, so I don't know if this is all making sense, but it came very, very clear, and everything will just reveal itself.
Mhm.
And I'm actually, the job that I've got was very much part of my guidance, but to help me to get back on, if that makes sense, on my own, doing one thing on one path. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good for you to follow it. And I
Yeah.
love that you see life. I love that you are tuned in to see the synchronicities.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's such a beautiful way to see life, noticing the signs or the synchronicities. So I'm really glad. I hope this was helpful for you, Margaret.
Oh, super helpful, Grace. Super. I'll be in touch as well. Thank you. I just was, I've got a little angel here, which made me smile because you mentioned inspiration a few times. And I just noticed the little angel of inspiration.
Perfect.
Like, yes, that's what's been missing, a little inspo for Mag. Whoops, I've just dropped her. Anyway, right, thanks very much. This has been
Thank
amazing.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Margaret. Danielle, would you like to share something?
Yeah, so this is exactly what I needed today. And the takeaways from everybody is just really this idea for me. What I need right now is just the space, the peace to be able to listen. So thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. Well, that's a lovely way to finish. Thank you for everyone's participation. I really appreciate it. And I think that whether you're coaching clients or not, you know, showing up on our monthly clinic is a way for us all to refuel and to hear something fresh and new. So just looking at the calendar, the next clinic will be Tuesday, July 2nd. That'll be the next one. There won't be one in August because I take the month of August off, but I'll see you for next month. Okay, lots of love, everybody. Take care. Bye.